What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is the Blacklist, Season 4, Episode 13, Isabella Stone. So this was fairly interesting. Apparently, after Jan lost her job at Dunder Mifflin, she decided to go completely crazy and just start killing folks. A little bit of office humor. If you watch the show, it's funny seeing Jan in other roles. She's actually kind of intimidating in this. So, yeah. But anyway, so we find out who Isabella Stone is. Apparently, it's an alias of a woman who, whenever she has a target set for her, she goes and destroys that person. Just takes away everything, publicly humiliates them to pretty much emotionally, not really physically, destroy them. So we see that apparently she had a target set for Reddington, and I do like that just because I guess it gives us a bit more mystery as far as, okay, so who is it? Because whenever we heard the name last episode, I'm like, okay, who's Isabella Stone? Why does that name matter to Reddington? So now we see that it's actually somebody who is kind of an assassin of sorts that was set to go after Reddington. I like that fact. I like the fact that we still don't know who's going after him yet. We don't know who's trying to target him and take him down. So that was very interesting. But we see she has all these different plans. You know, she goes and kills the guy, a courier, and then takes whatever he was hiding in his fake leg out of his fake leg, and then she goes and frames one of the guys that does some shipping for Reddington. She frames him for killing his wife, gets him arrested, and then she tries to kill another guy that Reddington was donating a lot of money to, all trying to get to him. So all of this is going on. We have some other side stories. We see Tom setting up for the Blacklist redemption. He wants to find out what's going on. His father just died in a plane crash. He wants to find out more about his mother, more about who he was before he became Tom, or Jacob. So we see, apparently, as a child, he was considered dead. So he goes and talks to the detective that handled the case, and then he finds some old video footage of a guy who claimed to have killed him as a child. So this could mean a couple things. One, this guy was put in place by Reddington by somebody to make it seem like he was dead when in reality he was kidnapped. Or two, Reddington is lying to him and he's not actually Susan Hargrave's son. I don't know which one's true, but I'm excited to find out. And honestly, it does kind of get me a little bit more excited for the Blacklist redemption. Like watching the previews for it and watching that one episode of the Blacklist where they had all the new team that's going to be on the new show. It kind of felt like it was just going to be some sort of spin-off show, just like, oh, yeah, that's off to the side. Kind of like NCIS and then NCIS New Orleans. I want to watch NCIS because I like that team. NCIS New Orleans, I don't know, I can't get into it as much because it's a different team, but still the same type of show. This is setting up to be, it's going to be a different type of show. It's going to be something similar to characters we've had on this show, but it's going to be something different. And I like the fact that they're actually setting it up within this show. They're setting up the story that we're kind of going to experience watching that show. So it's different than a normal spin-off show, and I like that, and I hope they continue to do some interesting things with it. So that was one of the side stories. Another one is, for some reason, Wrestler in this episode has his brother's going into surgery for a heart bypass. The weird thing about it is, though, they use this episode for him to all of a sudden say, I'm doing jobs for Reddington, and to be upset about it. I don't know where this is coming from. Obviously he's of the team, he's the most noble and honorable one, so he doesn't want to have anything to do with Reddington, obviously, and he doesn't want to be doing his dirty work for him and all that stuff. But it feels like that kind of went away after everything with Liz last season, after, her being found innocent and all of this stuff. It feels like that kind of dropped off. Like he wasn't feeling the same way about it anymore. He saw Samar doing some really awful things, and so I don't know. It didn't feel like that was still there. It didn't feel like that was still an issue for him. So just for it to come out of nowhere all of a sudden in this episode, I mean, obviously they do have a reason for it, but as far as the storytelling part of it, as far from a writing standpoint, it just feels like we haven't dealt with that at all, and then just bam, we have this one moment that leads to him saying, "I don't know if I can do this." I don't know where they're going with it. I don't know what the point of it is. So hopefully they continue on that. They don't just bring it up for this one episode and all of a sudden it's done. Hopefully there is a point to this. There's a reason why we're seeing wrestlers struggle with these feelings. And then that was pretty much it for the side stories. You know, we have Reddington during the main story goes and tries to rescue his friend out of the jail, ends up getting him killed in the process of them escaping. And so we see, I feel like this is starting to create sort of a rift between the team and Reddington. Like, up until now, the main rift has been Reddington and Liz. Like, they just can't get along no matter what's going on. They have moments where it's like, oh yeah, we are getting along, and then we're not getting along, and all of that stuff. Now it's starting to feel like he is going against the team. You know, we have a moment where Cooper's called him and said, "You went against what I was saying. You went against my orders," and it almost feels like it's kind of become more of a problem for Cooper. Like just him going and doing his own thing. Whereas before, I was like, okay, we're gonna follow Reddington. We're just he knows what he wants us to do. He has a plan in mind, but we're also stopping bad people in the process. So we're doing this for a good reason. Even if it is kind of helping him, we're trying to stop bad people. I'm wondering how much of that is going to become more, we need to stop Reddington. We need to stop following his orders. We need to stop trying to just help him whenever we can. We need to actually start trying to stop him as well. I think that's going to start to become a storyline as this season goes on. I hope it does. You know, maybe this was just a one episode thing where Cooper gets mad and Reddington's just like whatever, hangs up, and then next episode it all goes away. I hope that's not the case. I hope they continue to just really use this plot point because, you know, after 4 seasons or 3.5 seasons, it has kind of become a normal thing where it's like, oh, Reddington says go do this, let's go do it, but we're helping a bad guy. It's for a good cause. We're stopping bad guys. At what point do you say, okay, this is for a good cause, but we're also helping the bad guy, another bad guy, even worse than the bad guy we're trying to stop right now? So at what point does that relationship kind of break apart? At one point do they bring him back into the little box? You know, does it go back to season 1 where it's just like we have him locked up and he's just giving us information at this point because we don't trust him enough to let him roam and do whatever he wants to? So I like this possibility. I hope they continue to work with it and really try to expand on the idea of the team and Reddington falling out and becoming almost they're trying to catch him again. So that being said, the story was fairly simple. Just as far as how it all played out, you know, she goes and kills this guy. They're tracking her down. They finally track her down at the end. They capture her, and then Reddington ends up getting his way. Except this time, kind of playing into my possible theory of them breaking apart, he actually attacks the convoy that's transporting her. Like, they blow out the tires of the front truck and then blow up the truck that's transporting her and then take her out. So it's almost like he attacked them, and I wonder if they're going to kind of strike back and say, okay, that's not acceptable. You don't attack us. And so at the end, it just ends on we have a lot to talk about. So I feel like she's going to be captured for the next few episodes, and I'm going to be trying to get information. And of course, she's not going to talk at first, and at some point, hopefully, she'll give the name of whoever hired her. But yeah, it's a lot of interesting stuff going on. I mean, with Reddington, with Liz and Tom, with the team itself. The only thing that kind of stood out to me in this episode were there were a couple moments that didn't really fit. There was one where Aram was about to show them something that he found. He's like, I searched the internet and found this. And all of a sudden, a cat video pops up. It's like a cat in a dumpster with noodles on its head. I get what they're going for. They're trying to throw a little bit of humor into a show that doesn't really have that much humor. It's a very serious show overall. I mean, you watch and there's not a lot of laughs. It's a lot of intensity. But there is some humor. The problem is that type of humor is like, it's a little childish for the show. You know, the humor I'm used to is Reddington's stories. You know, he's talking to people and they're scared out of their mind and he just starts telling them this story of this time he was on a beach and, oh, let me tell you about it. And he just goes off on these tangents and all comes around to finally make his point. And I'm just like, that's funny. I enjoy that humor. I don't need cat videos in the middle of a serious moment to make me laugh. That's not going to make me laugh in a show like this. That may make some kids watching Nickelodeon laugh. I don't know why I keep going to Nickelodeon. I really should be going to Disney Channel because that's the lowest form of humor right now. Nickelodeon's still okay, I guess. I don't really watch Nickelodeon shows anymore. Or Disney Channel, but I've seen some of the horrible Disney Channel. I'm getting off on a tangent here. See, now, that's the type of thing that Reddington does, except he does it funnier. He does it in a way that he's very eloquent about his word choice, and he's very just his demeanor is so funny as he's explaining these long drawn out stories to somebody who's about to die. And they're just like, why is he talking about sea turtles? It's funny to watch. That didn't fit. And there was another moment that kind of felt the same way with, I can't remember what it was now. Crap. There was another scene that felt the same way. It felt like it didn't really fit in the episode. It just kind of came out of nowhere and bam, what's this scene doing here? It felt like it came from an entirely different episode. It just plopped itself in the middle. I can't remember where it was now. Alright. Anyway, but long story short, it's still a good episode, but I don't want that humor to start popping up. I don't want them to start throwing cat videos or that type of joke in all the episodes now. I want the humor to be Reddington. That's the funny part. That's the fun part of it, really, is watching him just be completely confident about everything, no matter what's going on. And right now, he's not in that mood. Right now, he's kind of in his, things aren't going my way, somebody's attacking me, my friend just died. It's not really a fun mood right now, so to throw that cat video in there just ruins the mood for a second. Just like, man, that wasn't needed. So anyway, those are my thoughts on this episode. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode? Let me know. We can talk about it, discuss, all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Blacklist reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.